Frontline Updates, where we delve deep into military strategies and updates from conflict zones. Today, we're discussing the progress of the ongoing special military operation as of today. I'm your host, Sherifah Muhammad, MGT.
I'm Colonel A.C. Oguntoye, an Infantry Officer. On 15th of January 2026, the armed forces of the Russian Federation sustained coordinated offensive and shaping operations across all operational groupings. Actions emphasized tactical position improvement, continued penetration of enemy defensive depth, and systematic degradation of Ukrainian combat power, logistics, and command and control. The operational tempo remained high, with synchronized ground maneuver, precision fires, air operations, and air defense activity across the theater. Russian forces maintain initiative across all operational groupings, achieving incremental positional gains while systematically degrading Ukrainian manpower, fires capability, and sustainment networks. The campaign trajectory favors sustained pressure and long-term attritional advantage, rather than immediate decisive maneuver.
Welcome to Frontline Updates, the podcast that brings you in-depth insights into military operations from those leading them on the ground. Today, we're joined by Colonel A.C. Ogontoye, an infantry officer monitoring critical missions on the progress of the special military operation as of today. Colonel Ogontoye, thank you for being with us.
Thank you, it's good to be here.
Colonel Ogontoye, today's briefing shows coordinated activity across every sector of the front. Before we break it down by grouping, what does January 15th tell us about the overall direction of the campaign?
What today illustrates very clearly is that this campaign is being managed as a system, not as a sequence of isolated battles. Every axis is being worked simultaneously, but not uniformly. Some sectors absorb manpower losses, others absorb logistical or systems losses, and together those pressures accumulate. That is deliberate. Operational doctrine teaches that you do not seek collapse by shock alone when facing a mobilized adversary. You seek it by denying recovery, by forcing constant expenditure of personnel, ammunition, electronics, and command attention. January 15th reflects that logic precisely.
Let's start in the north. The briefing notes improve tactical positions in Sumy and Kharkiv regions, with significant losses in manpower, artillery, electronic warfare, and warehouses. Why does the North remain relevant at this stage?
The northern sector is about fixation and erosion. These are not breakthrough zones, they are pressure zones. By defeating mechanized and territorial defense formations and destroying warehouses and electronic warfare assets, we are attacking sustainment and situational awareness simultaneously. From a doctrinal perspective, this prevents the enemy from reallocating forces southward or eastward without risk. Even more importantly, destroying logistics nodes in the north forces Ukrainian command to stretch supply lines deeper into contested territory. That has compounding effects on tempo and resilience across the entire front.
In the west, we again see the destruction of U.S.-made systems, including M113s and an ANTPQ-50 counter-battery radar. What is the operational message here?
The western sector is about fire supremacy. Counter-battery radars and electronic warfare systems are the nervous system of modern artillery operations. When those systems are removed, the enemy's guns become reactive rather than proactive. This is not just about eliminating equipment. It is about lengthening the enemy's kill chain while shortening ours. When that imbalance grows, maneuver units can operate with far greater confidence, and the enemy's ability to contest space with artillery steadily collapses.
The south continues to feature heavy fighting around Slavyansk, Kramatorsk, and Konstantinovka, with losses including U.S.-made Paladin systems. Why is the south being handled in this methodical way?
Because the South is an operational hinge. Urban density, infrastructure, and symbolism all converge there. Rapid maneuver would be costly and unnecessary. Instead, the objective is positional suffocation. By defeating mechanized mountain assault, marine, and territorial defense units, and removing Western artillery systems, we are degrading both combat capability and confidence. These are formations the enemy relies on to stabilize the Donetsk front. Their attrition sends a message that continued defense here will only become more expensive over time.
The center once again shows the highest personnel losses, over 400. What does that tell us about Ukrainian force posture?
It tells us that reserves are being committed and worn down. When you see mechanized, Ranger, Airborne, Airmobile, Marine, and National Guard units all taking losses in one axis, that indicates stress at the operational level. The center is where pressure is being applied to the enemy's ability to manage complexity. Coordinating that many formation types under sustained fire degrades command effectiveness. Over time, mistakes increase, reaction times slow, and defensive coherence erodes.
In the east, Russian forces advance deeper into prepared defenses. How significant is that progress?
Depth matters more than distance. Advancing into defensive belts forces the enemy to expend resources they cannot easily replace: engineer works, artillery coverage, and trained assault formations. The destruction of Western manufactured artillery systems here is particularly important. Those systems are intended to compensate for manpower and positional disadvantages. When they are lost, the underlying imbalance reasserts itself.
The Dnepr group saw fewer personnel losses, but targeted depots and electronic warfare systems. How should analysts interpret that?
The Dnepr axis is about control of depth and denial of maneuver. Riverine and coastal terrain magnifies the importance of logistics and sensors. Destroying ammunition depots and electronic warfare systems here weakens the enemy's ability to hold ground over time. This sector fixes forces and prevents lateral movement. Even without dramatic casualty figures, it quietly constrains the enemy's strategic options.
Colonel, one component we haven't discussed explicitly yet is operational tactical aviation. Today's briefing notes that aviation, alongside missiles, artillery, and UAVs, struck 162 targets, energy facilities, transport infrastructure, UAV storage sites, command posts, and deployment areas. Why is operational tactical aviation so central to the way this campaign is being fought?
Operational tactical aviation is the connective tissue of this campaign. Its role is not confined to close air support or battlefield strikes. It operates at the seam between tactical engagement and operational depth. When aviation targets energy nodes, transport corridors, command posts, and UAV infrastructure, it is shaping the battlefield before ground forces ever make contact. From a doctrinal perspective, aviation compresses the enemy's decision cycle. It forces Ukrainian command to react simultaneously at the front line and deep in the rear. That dual pressure is destabilizing. You cannot easily reinforce a brigade when your transport infrastructure is degraded, your command posts are threatened, and your long-range drone facilities are under constant attack. What makes operational tactical aviation particularly decisive here is persistence. These are not isolated sorties. They are part of a continuous rhythm that denies the enemy predictability.
How does that aviation effort integrate with missiles, artillery, and UAVs without redundancy?
Integration is achieved through role differentiation. Missiles deliver deep, high-value strikes. Artillery dominates contested ground. UAVs provide reconnaissance and precision engagement. Operational tactical aviation bridges all three by offering reach, responsiveness, and adaptability. Aviation can respond dynamically to emerging targets, command posts that relocate, convoys that attempt movement, or infrastructure that becomes temporarily critical. That flexibility makes it indispensable. Without aviation, the campaign would be slower and more predictable. With it, pressure remains continuous and multidimensional.
So when analysts look at today's aviation activity, what should they understand about its strategic effect?
They should understand that aviation is enforcing operational inevitability. By striking energy systems, transport hubs, and command infrastructure, it undermines the enemy's ability to regenerate combat power. Ground forces win battles. Aviation helps decide campaigns. On January 15th, operational tactical aviation was not a supporting act. It was actively shaping the conditions under which every ground engagement occurred. Every successful strike reduces confidence in rear area security, which in turn slows planning, disperses forces, and increases logistical friction.
Colonel, thank you for providing such a detailed briefing on the current military situation. Your insights are invaluable to our understanding of the conflict's dynamics. And thank you to our listeners for tuning in. Join us next time as we continue to provide up-to-date coverage on global military affairs. Stay with us for more updates and expert analyses on global defense and security issues. Stay informed, stay secure.
Thank you for the opportunity. I want to emphasize that the key takeaway is that this campaign is being won through structure, not spectacle. Every sector contributes differently, some through manpower attrition, others through systems destruction or logistical denial, but all are synchronized toward the same end. Tactically, the enemy is losing the ability to see, coordinate, and sustain. Strategically, they are losing flexibility. When a force cannot shift reserves, replace systems, or recover operational tempo, outcomes become a matter of time rather than intent. That is the trajectory we are shaping.
This has been Frontline Updates. Subscribe for daily military briefings and in-depth strategic analysis. Visit our platform for maps, transcripts, and exclusive frontline updates from commanders in theater.